Verse 25 says, "For this reason I say to you, do not worry." Verse 31 says, "Do not worry then." Verse 34 says, "So do not worry." 3 times there is a command not to worry. Therefore, to worry is sin. If something is a command and you disobey it, it's called sin. Most people do not look as worry as sin. They look at it as natural. Look at it as something that is legit given the circumstances that I am facing. Yet the Lord in this passage gives a command, and he couples the command with this statement: "O ye of little faith." You believe I can take you to heaven, you just don't believe I can cover you on earth. You believe I'm good for eternity, but I'm insufficient for time. Well, he says in introducing this section, "For this reason," and then he tells you don't worry. For this reason. So before he tells you don't worry, he says there's a reason. So you can't understand not to worry unless you understand the reason. So he says for this reason, which means we have to back up a few verses. And in verse 22, this is what he says: "The eye is the lamp of the body. So then, if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? No one can serve 2 masters. For either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." Because one of the big worries of life has to do with resources. He says if you want to get over worry, you got to get rid of one of your masters. Worry will track you down if you've got more than one master. He says if you got God over here and something else in control over there, since the definition of worry is to be torn in two, and you've got 2 different masters going in 2 different directions, then they will keep you worried because they will keep you torn. One of the reasons why we stay worried is we stay divided between masters. He says you cannot serve 2 masters. And when you do, you will be worried because you will be divided. He says if you are consumed by worry, you don't understand God. You don't understand his nature, and you don't understand his providence, and you don't understand his priorities. Notice what he says in verse 25. He says, "I say to you, don't worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or as to your body, as to what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and body more than raiment?" He says, folk get worried about the wrong thing. You get worried about what you are going to eat. You ought to be worried about whether you're going to get up to eat anything. Because life is more than food. You worried about food, but you are alive. Because if you don't have life, you don't have to worry about food. So if you have life, you can assume food. He says the body is more than raiment. The body is more than clothes. We worry about old clothes, new clothes, torn clothes, sewed up clothes. We worry about clothes. He says you're worried about the wrong thing. You need to worry about whether your body's intact to put your arms through those sleeves. What I have discovered is at the core of this thing of worry is we really don't know who we're dealing with. We have lost the awe of God. God is a great person up in the sky somewhere. We don't know who we're dealing with. And because our view of him is so small, we worry when there are things in our lives that are out of our control. I am not suggesting that life does not get hard. I am not suggesting that. We all know better than that. Jesus said in John 16:33, in this world you will have tribulation. But then he's going to bounce right off of that and say, be of good cheer. Say, what? You just told me I can expect trouble, and then you're going to tell me, cheer up and sing. When we understand, when God allows trouble in our lives, I'm not talking about trouble we create now. I'm talking about trouble that he allows that would create the insecurity that drives us from concern to worry. That what he is creating in your situation is an opportunity to see that he's God. So the next time you are tempted to worry, you must now look at that as an opportunity for God to let you see how much God he is. Paul put it this way in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. He said, God gave us a great ordeal of affliction, so we were down to the point where we didn't even know whether we were going to live. It got that bad. But then he adds a phrase, and he did it so that we could see he is the one who raises the dead. He did it so he could let us see he's God. You ever notice in the Bible all the time Jesus would lead his disciples into a storm? And they said, carest thou not that we perish? Don't you care? You sleeping and we're struggling out here? Oh, ye of little faith. When worry is seeping in, that is a call to faith in the midst of the legitimacy of the concern. So what do you do? What do you do? Verse 32, for the Gentiles eagerly seek all these things, for your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. When you worry, you have now joined the ranks of pagans. The Gentiles, the non-believers, the pagans, he says, they break their necks, mismanage their priorities, because they got to make it happen themselves. They seek to control it. Why? Because they are their own gods. But you got a daddy, your heavenly Father. God gets insulted when we question his capacity, his ability, and his intentionality to cover the needs of his people. Now, I'm not talking about every want. I'm not talking about every desire. He's talking about he knows you need these things. He's talking about the needs of life. He says, stop being pagans, because he says, I'm talking about your daddy. But your daddy has also got to be your master. You can't be divided. You can't have divided loyalties. I love Jeremiah 17, 7 and 8, because he says, God will keep you from worrying in a drought. A drought is when there is no rain, so there is no growth. A drought is when the work stops, when the pink slips are being handed out. He says he will keep you from worrying in a drought. He says, stop acting like the heathen. So what do I have to do? Verse 33, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. The key word is first. First. There's some things God can't do, okay? God can't sin, okay? We all agree God can't do that. He can't sin, okay? But let me tell you something else God can't do. He can't be second. He can't be number two. You put him in the back of anything in your life and you just lost him. Not if he's God. You can't have God and him number two. So he can't be second. That's why references to God are always first. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. That's the first commandment. You got first. Give the God the first day of the week. First. Because he doesn't know how to be second. And the moment you make him second, he says, well, you can have the other thing completely. Because I'm not a number two kind of God. Who else you know create universes?
Dr. Evans will share a time management secret for overcoming anxiety when we return in just a moment. Stay with us.
Words cannot express my gratitude to God for his faithfulness. Who would have thought he would have taken this urban kid out of Baltimore, Maryland, given him the opportunities, allowing me to earn a doctorate degree and to build a church ministry that would model what we've been doing nationally and internationally through this ministry. That he would build up and give us a staff who are committed to getting this truth out, reaching hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people with the truth of God in all manner of ways, and to impact individuals and families and churches and even communities with the worldview of the kingdom agenda, the visible manifestation of the comprehensive rule of God over every area of life. And I'm certainly grateful for all the friends he's given us to keep us being able to get God's truth into a needy world. I praise God for 40 years of his favor. One of the reasons why we're not seeing more of God is he's somewhere down the line when we get to him. When I have enough time, when I have enough money, when I have enough patience, when I have enough this, when I have enough, we get around to it later and worry all along the way. Seek ye first. Primacy, priority, the rule and the standards of God as your priority. And then he closes with this zinger. And it is a zinger because it's so hard to do. He says in verse 34, so do not worry about tomorrow. For tomorrow will take care of itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Well, yeah, God, you can say all that. You God. Okay. We are troubled by the problems of the past. We are troubled by the struggles of the present. And we are troubled by the uncertainty of the future. All those, and sometimes we troubled about all three at the same time. He says, I need to teach you, the Lord says, how to manage time. Most of us are crucified between two thieves, yesterday and tomorrow. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Okay, and I know I missed somebody with that one. Today is the tomorrow that you worried about yesterday. So yesterday you were worried about today, but you're making it today, even though you worried about it yesterday, which is the tomorrow that you were worried about yesterday when you were worried about today. Now, I know you got to graduate from high school to get that, but you ever notice when you worried about